How much did that help when Soika was full, the student section full and getting loud? Could you feel that, and did that make a difference for the team?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I had heard and seen like some attendance numbers in the programs from when, like Charles Lee and those guys were playing with Bucknell, and when they were had beat Kansas and got in the tournament a couple of years, like they were getting great turnouts for games, and I remember that being kind of our goal to try to emulate that and bring that back during my years, and we got some good numbers, and yeah, especially like. When I don't know if they still play the Patriot League tournament at the higher seeds home
Yeah.
court. Do they still
Yeah, they
do
do.
that? Yeah. So like I mean that's to me that's obviously a huge time where you need that home court advantage and the fans there. But I think just the way Sloik is set up, it makes for such a cool atmosphere when you got like a packed pavilion in there. It makes it
Yeah,
fun.
it's impressive.
Then Now Forever Ray explores a wide array of topics surrounding Bucknell athletics and the lives of Bucknellians near and far, with live interviews hosted by Senior Associate Athletic Director Joel Moersch. Then Now Forever Ray highlights the university's proud tradition of excellence in the classroom, in the competitive arena, and in life after graduation.
All right, welcome to Then Now Forever Ray podcast. It's my honor to introduce Bucknell men's basketball legend, Mike Muscala, class of 13. Mike, really appreciate you being on the show. How's the offseason treating you so far?
Yeah, thanks for having me, Joel. Off season's been good. I had ankle surgery about 4 months ago, so been rehabbing in Minnesota, and looking forward to getting back on the court.
So, growing up in Minnesota, being recruited by Bucknell, I had to look this up. I know it's about 1,000 miles apart, your hometown and campus here in Lewisburg. Talk about the recruiting process a little bit and you selecting Bucknell as the place you came to play ball. I know before you arrived, Bucknell had 4 NCAA tournament appearances on the men's side. Was that it? Is that what lured you out to Central Pennsylvania, or perhaps was it an individual that you had a relationship that enticed you to come here?
It was those two things mostly. Yeah, like you said, I knew Bucknell had a good basketball program, had made the tournament, had beat Kansas. I had heard about that. And then Coach Fisher, who's now the head coach at William and Mary, was recruiting me. He's from Minnesota, so we had that connection off the bat. And then Coach Paulson, being from Wisconsin, just felt like I got along well with him too. And then I wanted to go to a good school. I wanted to play basketball in college, but I wanted to get a good education too. And I had, read that Bucknell offered a great, educational experience. And then I came out to visit, and it was just a beautiful campus. And I came with my parents, and I knew pretty much right when we, stepped on campus that it was where I wanted to go. So I was really happy with the decision. It was a great four
Well, I
years.
have to thank you because after you played at Bucknell, and obviously, all in addition to some other key alumni, now Bucknell men's basketball has 8 NCAA tournament appearances, and that's why I knew about the school and ended up working here. So,
Oh,
so
cool.
just sticking with the recruiting, though, it's night and day different today, as you know. There's the whole name, image, likeness. There's the transfer portal. It's really quite fascinating what's happening with the whole deal. Coming from you, I'm really curious to hear your thoughts on all that. As a star at the mid-major level, obviously went on to be a second-round pick, 44th overall. What are your thoughts on what student athletes are doing these days, how they're transferring? And do you think if that was happening back in the day, is that something that would have enticed you?
That's a good question. It's hard for me to relate, but I do think about it because I have friends that coach in college, and I've just heard, how much the landscape has changed in college, like you were alluding to. And for me, I was fortunate. I loved the 4 years at Bucknell. I love the coaches. I love my teammates. I love the student athlete experience there. And so, I never thought about transferring, of course, but for some students maybe where it's not the experience they were hoping for, and they have another option. I mean, I think, obviously I'm hearing that a lot of people are transferring and taking advantage of the fact that they don't have to sit out that year. So um, I don't know. I mean, it just sounds like it's different now. I can't tell you if that's better or worse, from when I was there. But I just know, like, from my experience, being there for 4 years and really growing with guys over those years, and you'd have some new guys come in every year that you kind of show them the ropes. I really like that, and I felt like it taught me a lot about just like sticking to it. When times were tough, and when we were like, maybe lost a couple games here and there, and having to go through like the student athlete, process of a lot of tough classes and tests and papers you had to turn in on top of basketball. I feel like that just prepared me well for life after college, and so that's something that I feel like having to be in a school for 4 years, can teach you.
Well, we're certainly glad you stuck around. That's why a lot of these trophies are behind me right now. Just skipping ahead to your time playing professional ball. I know you're coming up on a decade, drafted in 2013. What have you learned, and how have you evolved as a leader in the game of basketball? And what are you looking forward to most in the rest of your career?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, to be coming up my 10th year playing pro, I've been lucky, and I definitely I'm grateful for like any more games I can play professionally. I'm about to turn 31 here in a couple of days, so starting to get old as a pro athlete, but still really enjoying the game, and honestly being more grateful now than I have been for it ever before. I think, as you kind of feel it starting
Yeah.
to, kind of come to an end. So, I mean, I don't know, just as terms of a leader, just being able to pass along any knowledge, that I picked up along the way and through experience, that I can. I feel like it's just cool to give back to the game. And when I'm done playing, I definitely want to coach or work in basketball to some degree, but I think coach. And I think that's just will be fun, a fun challenge to give back the game, that I've learned to players, but also learn from them too as a coach. So, yeah, that's what I would say.
What level do you want to coach at? Have you made your mind up?
I have not yet. No, I mean, I don't know. College or the NBA. High school will be fun too, though. High school, college, or NBA. I'll say that's every level pretty much. But I don't know. It would just be fun. I think to where I've had some experience doing it here and there. I ran a camp for a couple of years and coached in a high school top 100 camp last summer, and just really had a good time. So I got a lot of respect for coaches. It's a hard job. You got a lot of things to manage, but I think it's also a really important job too, and something that I look forward to learning about.
Absolutely. Now, going off the court a little bit, College of Management degree from Bucknell. Another thing I find fascinating about the NBA is you hear about what players are doing off the court. You hear about successful investments they're making, other business ventures they're getting into. Has your degree from Bucknell helped you in what your other things that you're doing not related to basketball?
Um, I mean, to a degree, I think just the Bucknell liberal arts uh, academic experience, it fosters a lot of curiosity and ability to try all these different classes and learn these different subjects on top of your specialty and your major. And I think that stuck with me more so than perhaps just the business major. I also majored in Spanish, and that was good when I played in
Yeah.
Spain when I came right out of college at Bucknell. But I think, yeah, just I've learned that there are other ventures you can get into, but it's good to stay focused on what you're doing because otherwise you can get a little bit too distracted, and I've had that happen too. So, but definitely some things I learned from the business degree, just being able to play even to the game of basketball. The NBA is a business itself, of course, and you always hear people say that. So to bring that education as a player and be able to pass some of that along to teammates, I felt that for sure.
So, with that Spanish degree, did you pursue that knowing that you might be playing overseas and it'd be useful?
No, I just like I grew up going to Mexico a lot. My parents had their honeymoon there, my mom and my stepdad, and so they ended up getting a timeshare there, and so we
Nice.
would go there for like every vacation as a kid. to Puerto Vallarta, and I just love the culture and the food and everything. And I started taking Spanish classes in like middle school, and then Bucknell offered a lot of great classes, and I would just take one class every semester, and then it just ended up being enough to qualify for a Spanish major. But it definitely helped when I was in Spain. But I'll tell you that the best experience way to learn is just immerse yourself in the place, because there's still a lot I had to learn once I got into Spain.
Nice. So behind me here in the media room, your jersey's hanging up on the wall, number 31, retired on February 15th, 2020. Talk to me. I mean, I wasn't here, unfortunately, so I couldn't see it, but what did that event mean to you? And do you still remember it when you look back on that special day?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it meant a lot. Obviously, a ton of memories. Seeing some teammates that I played with, and even just getting to watch a game, getting to watch the guys play. That's fun. I hadn't watched a game in such a long time back at Sloika. So, no, it was a fun day, and really humbled and appreciative that Todd and rest of the guys in the athletic department, looked out for me and did that. I thought it was a special day, and I know my parents really appreciated it too.
So back when you played in your heyday, this place had to be rocking. Just getting through my first basketball season, obviously we had COVID issues to worry about, as I know you did in the NBA as well, with limited fan attendance and all that. How much did that help when Soika was full? The student section full and getting loud. Could you feel that, and did that make a difference for the team?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I had heard and seen like some attendance numbers in the programs from when like Charles Lee and those guys were playing with at Bucknell, and when they had beat Kansas and got in the tournament a couple of years, like they were getting great turnouts for games, and I remember that being kind of our goal to try to emulate that and bring that back during my years, and we got some good numbers, and yeah, especially like when I don't know if they still play the Patriot League tournament at the higher seeds home
Yeah,
court. Do they still
yeah, they
do
do.
that? Yeah. So like, I mean, that's to me, that's obviously a huge time where you need that home court advantage and the fans there. But I think just the way Sloika's set up, it makes for such a cool atmosphere when you got like a packed pavilion in there. It makes it
Yeah,
fun.
it's impressive. I want to switch gears here to talk a little bit about paying it forward. In my time here, I've understood that you've done wonderful things for the program. You obviously still care about the direction of the men's basketball program and the athletic department. You've been a supporter during One Herd One Day. It seems like at the drop of a hat, we ask you to jump on a random podcast, and you say absolutely. What is it about this place that inspires you to stay involved?
I mean, I think every year that goes by, I appreciate my experience at Bucknell more. It's like you kind of realize looking back just all the fun times you had and the people you met that you can still keep in touch with. And I really think college experience is such an important time in people's lives, and especially if you're a student athlete. And just have really good memories of my time there. And I just feel like very appreciative that I had the chance to play there and to study there, on a scholarship. I mean, that's just like a great blessing that's helped me throughout my life. So, anything I can do giving back going forward, even though I'm kind of far away from there, and it's hard to get back that often. But just like I don't know, I just think I've grown even fonder of my time the more the years that have passed. So yeah, it's great to give
Well,
back.
we appreciate that so much. Now, you already mentioned coaching, so I know Coach Davis is going to remember that you said that when he watches this podcast about you getting into coaching after your playing career. But one of the last questions I have for you is in relation to preparation and getting ready for a season. Obviously, you did your thing back in the day when you were a student athlete here at Bucknell, and it worked. And then in your time in the NBA and in professional basketball, I'm sure you've picked up some new things along the way. What piece of advice would you give to student athletes here at Bucknell? Not even necessarily just men's basketball, but student athletes in general, in how you prepare for a really important season.
Yeah, that's a good question. I would just say find your motivation. Find what's going to motivate you and what goals it's going to create for you individually and your team. When I was during my 4 years at Bucknell, Lehigh had a really good basketball team, and CJ McCollum and Gabe Knutson were good players there, and they're the same age as me and Joe and Colin and Bryson Johnson, the guys in my class. And that motivated us. They beat us at home our junior year, like I was saying, at home in the Patriot League tournament. They were cutting down the nets at Soika, and that was probably one of the most, one of the saddest nights, that I can remember from a basketball player standpoint, where we just went back into our dorms and we're like, man, that was just tough. So that motivated us that whole, off season. So I would just say, find whatever you motivate. Maybe it's family, maybe it's friends, maybe it's your teammates, maybe it's just the way that the sport fits into your life, and you can be grateful to have to stay in shape and to learn teamwork and all that stuff. But like, just find that motivation and keep coming back to that, because there's going to be those tough times when you might question, like, is this all worth it or whatever. But if you have that proper motivation, it'll get you right.
So coming up on your 10-year reunion, are we going to get to see you back on campus?
I don't know. I mean, it's hard for me to get out there to Bucknell, but I was back for the 5-year reunion. So let's see, the 10-year. That'll be next year. Yeah, for sure. I'll be back then. No, I thought you meant maybe the rest of this summer, but no, next summer I'll be back for
Good
sure.
Deal.
Yeah, I wouldn't miss that.
I was going to say, we're also going to be checking out the schedule. We're going to come find you and watch a game, whether it's in Oklahoma City or when you're playing on the road. Mike, we can't thank you enough for all that you do for Bucknell Athletics, for the men's basketball program. You're a tremendous ambassador for the program, and it's been a pleasure getting to know you, and I can't thank you enough. I hope you have a great season.
Thanks, Joe. Yeah, thanks for your time. This was fun.